And away we go on a Tuesday, Dan Labbe and Mary Kay Cabot. And today, Mary Kay, we are going to talk about something you wrote over the weekend and really the big NFL news of the weekend and sort of how it applies to the Cleveland Browns. And that, of course, is the gigantic trade. Matthew Stafford going to LA. He'll play for Sean McVay and the Rams. The Rams giving up on Jerod Goff, sending him to Detroit, a whole bunch of draft capital that they kind of had to give up to give away that contract. You mentioned it in your story. It was a little reminiscent of what we saw the Browns do when they basically bought a second round pick, a very NBA style trade. So let's go back to, I think it was Saturday night when the trade broke. What was kind of your first reaction to the whole thing?
Well, first of all, it was a shocker to know that just such a short amount of years after Jerod Goff was taking his team to the Super Bowl, that he was getting traded to the Lions. It's a stunner to me. Both Carson Wentz and Jerod Goff together. The fact that neither of them have worked out with their teams after they got these blockbuster deals, it really is bizarre. So I think I was shocked just like everybody else. And then, of course, the next thing that came to my mind was Baker Mayfield. What does this mean for Baker Mayfield? Of the last four quarterbacks, the last four first-round quarterbacks to get these blockbuster extensions as soon as they're eligible for them, three of them have not worked out with their current team. Or as I mentioned, Carson Wentz is hanging on by a thread in Philadelphia. Jerod Goff was traded by the Rams to the Lions, and Deshaun Watson wants the heck out of Houston. So it really is amazing to think that, you've got your guy, you're paying him an enormous amount of money, and then before you know it, it all goes up in smoke. And I think it's a cautionary tale for what the Browns need to do.
And what's interesting is all those situations are so different because, you mentioned the Goff thing and it just didn't work. It just, for whatever reason, he fell out of favor. He never built on that year he put together when they went to the Super Bowl. For Wentz, it was this combination of he couldn't stay healthy. And then this last year was just a complete disaster for him. And then with Watson, it's not that he's done anything necessarily. It's just the organization around him was turned into a complete mess. It's being run by Jack Easterby. They hired Nick Caserio, of course. But he obviously has just completely lost trust in that organization. So as we talk about the Browns, I guess let's talk about a couple reasons why maybe their situation is different from what Jerod Goff, Deshaun Watson, from all of these situations. And I think it starts with, it does seem like they've gone all in on Baker Mayfield. Like when they did this last reset, and it was teetering, after that Freddie Kitchens year, I think it was definitely teetering. But they decided on this last reset, they were going to go all in on playing to Baker Mayfield's strengths. So, is that fair to say that that's maybe a little different than some of these other situations?
Yeah, that's very true. They have done that. And, I think that was obviously the priority in the offseason, not only to get a system in here and a coach in here that would be compatible with Baker Mayfield, but also to beef up the offensive line, to sign Austin Hooper. So they did go all in with Baker. They put all their eggs in that basket to make sure that they're doing everything they can to help their 2018 number one overall pick be successful. And if you looked at the first half of the season, he was kind of on life support a little bit. And the thought was, this might not work out. Maybe he won't even get the fifth year option. That's the point he was at midway through the season when he was coming off basically the Pittsburgh game there, that loss to Pittsburgh where he threw the two interceptions. And then he got it turned around. He really got it turned around. After he threw that pick in Cincinnati that resulted in Odell Beckham Jr.'s torn ACL, he went on to throw 20 touchdown passes and only 2 interceptions the rest of the way, including playoffs. So that's remarkable. But still, Dan, I really still think that they're going to take a long, hard look at what has happened with the last 4 quarterbacks that signed those extensions as soon as they were able to do it. I still think it's going to give them pause because they don't have to do it. And here's the other thing. All the rest of these 4 quarterbacks that we're talking about have either won Super Bowls been named the Super Bowl MVP have made Pro Bowls, multiple Pro Bowls, or taken their team to the Super Bowl. Baker Mayfield has done none of those things. He's done none of those things. And yet we're still talking about wondering if they're going to sign him to this extension this offseason. So I think they have a lot to think about. I think they have a lot to think about, because not only has he not done any of those things that we're talking about, he hasn't yet put together one full good season.